Guys, this is Steli FT with Close.io. I want to talk about what do you do when you send out a sales email campaign and you have great open rates but really bad response rates. So this morning I was talking to an entrepreneur. He's running a large campaign for his business where they do outbound emails, cold emails to businesses, and he's seeing great results on the open rate front. So a lot of people are interested and compelled by reading the subject lines that he's written. So they open the email interested to then not respond to his message. He was asking me, Steli, what do I do if I have this particular problem? And we went through a little exercise and explored the issue and came up with some few interesting points that I wanted to share with you guys as well. Number one, a few things for context and background. Number one, he was actually in a really, really crowded market. He's in the recruiting space. He has a recruiting product. But when you just glance over the message, it was hard to tell if he's a recruiter, if he offers some kind of an outsourcing service, or if he actually offers a product. If you don't read carefully and if you just glance over the message, it was hard to tell. And if you are an employer, especially in technology today, you get tens and tens of emails every single day by recruiters and outsourcing shops, and you've tuned out. I'm getting all these emails. I don't even read them. The moment something looks like a recruiting email or related to recruiting, I just delete it. So when we looked at his subject lines as a first step, we saw that the subject lines were not just compelling, but they actually were promises on what he wanted to deliver later on. So sometimes you can trick people into opening your email and then you get really bad response rates. This was not the issue this time. He was actually talking about, I don't even remember what was one of the subject lines, something about their recruiting, their hiring plans for next year, question mark, or something along those lines, where it was clearly about recruiting. It was compellingly written, like from a human being, hence why people would open the email to find out more. But then when you actually look at the text of his message, it was a good pitch, or it was an okay pitch, but the problem is that it started off with talking about hiring and recruiting, and do you also have challenges, finding the right people, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And by that time, I've already tuned out. So what we identified as a hypothesis is that the problem here might be that you are emailing these people that get too many emails of a similar kind. And even if everybody else is lying and you can truthfully deliver the value that you're promising your pitch, it won't matter if I don't trust you and don't believe you and don't read your message, don't really receive your pitch. So here's what I advised him to do. And if you ever run into this problem where you get great first initial responses by getting people to open your emails and read them, but then they don't reply and you're in a crowded space, you might want to try this tactic out as well. What I told him was that if you're in a space that's that crowded, you can't hide from that fact. You have to embrace it. You have to actually talk about it. So your first sentence can't just be, well, I'm wondering, do you also have recruiting problems? Maybe you're the right person to talk about your recruiting next year, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. What you have to do is you have to acknowledge, hey, dude, I know that you're probably getting a ton of email regarding recruiting, and I don't read these emails when I get them, and I'm assuming you won't read mine. Here's why you should consider giving this a chance. Or here's why I am actually different. Right? It could be a simple email like that saying, hey, Steli, I'm reaching out to talk about recruiting, but the problem is you won't read any further because probably reading the word recruiting already scared you off. Right? I'll continue the email writing, although I assume you won't read it. Right? At least that would get me compelled to smile and keep reading. Maybe to do it less humorously, you could just say, hey, you're probably getting a ton of email in the broad sense of people that want to help you in some way or another regarding your recruiting. And I'm sure that you've already tuned out of all of them. And still, I decided to send you this email. Let me tell you why I've done it and why I believe that this is different and we could actually deliver value to you. So you need to acknowledge out of the gate, hey, dude, I know you're not going to be that compelled, that thrilled to read more about recruiting, but there is something here, and we are different. And despite me knowing that fact, despite me being self-aware that you probably won't read this, I still felt the responsibility to email you because I think I have something, right? Now, this is a compelling start. Somebody that talks truthfully to me, that acknowledges the fact that she and I, we both know that I'm getting a ton of email about this. So they don't just hide from that fact, they embrace it. That's compelling. Now, when you tell me you are different, you better be different in the rest of the email, right? You can't just say, hey, please pay attention. I know you think we're like all the others, but we're actually different. And then continue with a pitch that sounds just like everybody else. Then you better do your best to actually deliver a different kind of pitch. Tell me about a customer that I will recognize that you've actually helped. Build some credibility. Give me some very specific numbers or examples or success cases, or tell me intimately why you've researched my business, not just on the surface, but you really went deep and you truly understand what my business is about. And hence, you believe that in a very particular way, you can actually help me. So, a lot of times people say, Stelly, I checked out your product, looks really compelling. Well, what we are doing is we are offering blah, blah, blah. And you can tell they never checked out your website. They never looked at your product. They don't know what they're talking about, because when they continue with their pitch, it's clear they don't know who they're talking to. Be different. Stand out. Either you do a little bit more research and you give me a very compelling and customized pitch, and you give me really compelling examples and you build credibility by showing me and demonstrating, here's how we actually changed the lives of all these businesses or actually delivered all this incredible value in a market that typically doesn't deliver what it's promising, or whatever else. But the formula to success here, if you want to stand out in a really crowded market and make people respond to your message, so you need to acknowledge that your market is crowded and that the audience is probably overwhelmed by the message, so it's tuning out. You need to point that out, call their attention to it, and then be different than actually delivering a compelling pitch. If you can do these two things, if you can't do these two things, you're probably going to see your response rates rise. You're probably going to see your prospects really paying attention, leaning in, wanting to know more, wanting to actually interact with you. All right, I hope that this was useful. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Email me at stelly@close.io if you have any questions, feedback. If you want to challenge me or give me feedback, let me know how you like these videos, what you want me to talk about in the future. Looking forward to hear from you. Go out there every single day and crush it.